Hi, my name is Rebecca Sackett, and today I was going to do a video on just some quick tips, best practices on how I do things anyway. Everybody's got their own style, and how I do like testing data. So one thing I have here is I have a SharePoint site that I call my test team, and I just create SharePoint lists over here sometimes when I just want to play around with different column types I'm not used to using, or just theories I want to test. Watch a good video and you want to follow along, you can do it kind of here to get down the process before you try to actually do it on the app that you have. And then I also have this other app that I created that's just called How To. It's my app, and when I do something, I go put it here and I save it on a screen. So this one, I had actually did a video on this one where it's multi-filtering, and then also where it's filtering by the different divisions off of whichever it's selected. I have this because I do, which one was it, the collections. I do these a lot, and for whatever reason it's one of those things that I have a hard time remembering the proper order and what all needs to get done. So instead of having to go open an app that is being used to try to figure out what I did previously, I just kind of save it here. So I can just go and look. So I just have my collection test, and then I have where it collects that off of this information. I try to throw in a little bit of variety on column types here. This one I just added a checkbox just to make sure I'm sure how to pull in that data the way I need it stored. And then I have the gallery, and then I have it where it's patching to one of my test lists on that test team. It's patching the data. So I don't try to make any of these look nice. I just I don't even know why I would use this, but I did this one the other day where it's like going from one item to the next. Haven't really thought of an actual use case for it, but it was just, I think in the community I saw somebody ask a question and I wanted to see how I would do it if I was going to do it. So this one just stores the pin inputs into the collection here. I guess it'd be better if I did something a little more than that. Well, the image isn't very big, but it's just kind of where I go to practice stuff. Sometimes I use this stuff, and sometimes I haven't. There's a few things in here I haven't used yet, but I've got the information here if I need to use it. This one actually works with a flow too. I have some test flows that I use to go look at to remember how to do it. This one, oh, there's me, hello. This one is just how to upload the multiple camera images. It's just where I kind of go and play with different controls. And the other thing that I've had a couple people ask about is I have these template ones. So what I do is I create the home screen, and then I go through and I create a few screens that I use a lot. So this is my typical layout where I have the gallery on the left and I have the fields on the right. If you're going to use this template and you're going to copy this and use it a lot, I would suggest that you go ahead and be pretty good about your naming if you can. Especially like on buttons and stuff. You know, this one I named it Button Submit. This one I called it Tab Details. Whatever naming you want to pick, just pick something and stick with it. I do all of my naming the same, and I think naming is very, very, very important. It'll save you a ton of time to not have to go back and look at what something's named, because of the fact that you can start typing and then select it. So if your names are off of something that is basically common sense to yourself, you don't have to go look up that data. So a lot of times I use this menu pop out. This is my loading. And then I also have this one here that is just common codes. It's to help me remember how I name stuff a lot of times. So when I use the loading, I use show loading. When I use the menu, I use the show menu. And then I have on the toggle, which would be like to pop it out and then hide it. It would be this one. Everybody uses this a lot, the sort descending choices, and then this is the part that would go in my gallery for setting that. reset. This is reset radio button for me, and this one is reset my input, the text input. So I keep all of this here. And then the last screen that I have in this template is where I go and store my app info so that I don't have to look this stuff up later. I like saving it on a screen in the app. It's never visible to a user, but it's visible to me when I open it in edit mode. So I keep the SharePoint sites, all the sites that are tied to the app, with the name and then the location, and then all the SharePoint list with the name and the description, and then all of the flows with a name and a description. So I kind of try to store these on a screen. This here with the common codes, when I get done with the app, I delete that screen. Same with this one. Once I've used it, that's the very last thing I do is go on all my screens and use this loading if I'm going to use it. And then I delete this screen here, and then the menu and design, of course, I'll delete whenever I'm done with it, like completely done with the app. But this one will stay, this app info. So I like using this. I have a computer version, and then I also have a template for my phone apps. So, and I've got the list view, my form view, and my loading. Same, the common codes. Obviously, I went all over the place with my text sizes there. I've noticed that. And then the app info. So I know that this is just a little thing. It's not really showing you how to do anything. But it is definitely something that I had seen a few people suggest and kind of played around with, and have found that it has saved me a ton of time. If you're just starting out and you're really not used to what you like in regards to icons, buttons, what do you want to use, it's a little hard to decide what you would want to be for your template. So I would say that you probably need to use PowerApps for a little while before you can make that kind of decision. But you can still do a template, and then if you're going for a little while and you decide, you know what, I really don't like this or that, when you change it in the app that you're working on, then go back and save it in the template too. This right here, this filtered count, I added that later. I didn't have that to the original template. And then I did a couple of apps where I was really needing that, so I went back and added it on those apps, and then I came back here and added it to the template so I would remember to use it. So anyway, it's just a little bit of information on a few things that I found that saved me time. Also, whenever I want to test something real quick, sometimes I'll make a screen here, do something, and then I just delete the screen. So, you know, I don't always necessarily keep it, but if it's something that I do and I find is useful, that I may could use somewhere else down the road, I keep it. All the videos that I may watch, if it's something I haven't used yet, I'll usually keep them here whenever I get done. Some things, you know, you just get where you don't ever have to look back at notes on it, and so if that's the case, it's really not worth keeping. But the things that are that you do need to look back sometimes to remind yourself on. Like I said, I still do a lot with the collections because I just don't really use the collections a whole lot. I just don't have a need for it. So I manage my data size enough where I don't really use it a whole lot. But when I do, this is where I come look to remember how to do it again to make sure that I get everything in the proper order. So anyway, I don't know if this will be helpful to anybody, but I hope it is. So if so, then great. All right, well, hope you have a good day.